A massive IT outage has global implications for cybersecurity. Now, the world today experienced a digital pandemic of systems going offline and displaying the dreaded Windows blue screen of death. And this was all due to a catastrophic failure caused by a flawed file in an update to a CrowdStrike cybersecurity platform. Now, their customers were impacted, and it has been obscenely widespread, with many banks, airlines, train stations, airports, financial exchanges, news agencies, supermarkets, and healthcare providers, just to name a few. Now, CrowdStrike is a behemoth in the endpoint protection for cybersecurity, and it's used by almost 60% of Fortune 500 companies and over half of the Fortune 1000. It's popular in the financial sector. It has deployments, 8 out of the top 10 in financial services. Many of the biggest technology, healthcare, and manufacturing companies are also their customers. So far, the faulty CrowdStrike update is not attributed to malicious activities, so there's no indication yet that this was because of a hacker. But the impacts have been massive, prompting social media to unofficially designate today as BSOD Day, for Blue Screen of Death Day. So the implications are interesting here. Right, this outage of CrowdStrike customers on Windows 10 systems, and it was reported affecting only Windows 10 systems, but the jury's still out, we don't have all the data yet, but it reinforces 3 important aspects. First and foremost, cybersecurity solutions do need deep and privileged access into the systems they're running on, and that makes them more impactful in case they get hijacked or they malfunction. Now, this access really is necessary to make preventative defensive changes to systems before the attacks, to monitor systems if they are attacked, to be able to detect those things, and then to be able to coordinate system-level remediation actions once they are attacked and they need to be fixed. So cybersecurity platforms do need more permissions, but again, they can cause equally impactful damages if they're the ones that are hacked, or they're the ones that, just like in this case, they fail because of a bad file, a bad update, a misconfiguration, something of that sort. Now, if we think about the computing stack, it's like a layered cake, with data at the top, and then below that you have applications, virtual machines, you've got operating systems, virtual machine managers. Beneath that you've got firmware that actually sits on the hardware, and the hardware is the bottom of that stack. Now, the deeper you go, the harder it is for attackers to get there. But the problems when you do get deeper, they become more impactful and more difficult to remedy. Cyber attackers try to get as far down the stack as possible because they can avoid detection from any layer above it and are really more difficult to evict the farther you go down. And when errors occur, well, like today, right, the same relevance applies. And CrowdStrike works very closely at that OS layer, has incredible permissions to be able to do those system changes and to be able to monitor other programs, other operating system functions, to be able to detect when something bad is happening. So, depending on the vendor, right, when we talk about supply chain attacks, and this is the second point, the risk of supply chain attacks is absolutely real. And when we look at cybersecurity vendors, they're more trusted, they go deeper down that stack, they have a bigger capability to do damage, and that can be catastrophic. And given that CrowdStrike is one of the biggest cybersecurity players in the industry, we're talking about the range, the scope of the number of systems is kind of unprecedented when we've seen similar issues happen before. An accidental or malicious problem in their flagship product, like we saw today, right, can deliver widespread impacts to the most important sectors. So let's be glad that this was simply a technical glitch and not a malicious one, because at least if it's a technical glitch, they can track down what that singular problem is and then try and fix it, and the fix should take. If it's a malicious actor who's intelligent and creative, they're going to play hide and seek. They're going to put back doors in other places. And if you fix one issue, they're going to create other ones. They create dilemmas, right? Not just problems, but dilemmas where you have equally bad choices to pursue. So in this case, it looks like we're pretty lucky that it was not a malicious actor behind this. Right? But again, we are seeing widespread impacts and outages, even just with an IT-related situation. So, okay, the third thing we need to keep in mind, that bad updates, code bugs, misconfigurations, well, they happen all the time, unfortunately. There's no software or firmware or hardware. There's no company that's immune that develops all this stuff. And the more you develop, the more lines of code, the more regular updates that happen, the more chances it's going to reveal itself. So we need to understand that this is a challenge, but we do want our security platforms to continually update because they have to in order to maintain pace with the innovativeness of the attackers. So we don't want stale cybersecurity because the value of it goes down, but the more it gets updated, the more potential risk we have of an incident like we're seeing today. What we do need to look at as an industry is that more effort is needed as part of the development, quality assurance, and oversight of these software updates and of software development in general. And even for the best organizations, it's possible that a series of cascading mistakes occur and then we see an incident like this. So it's not a single fix, it's a systemic fix where you're trying to put in lots of different controls that will catch these mistakes before they go to production, before they hit a massive amount of your customers. So that's why it's important to not only invest in defense and prevention, but also architect ways to securely recover if bad things happen, and then resolve the issues in a timely manner if they do come up. So it's not only make sure that there's not bad code and updates, right? No matter how much you invest in there, eventually, right? You do want to do that, minimize that, but eventually something is going to happen. You also have to have a plan B. You have to have a way that you can then reach out to those affected customers, clients, software, whatever, and resolve the issue very quickly. So it's never just prevention, right? We always have to be able to quickly detect and then resolve the issues as it comes up. So what we saw today is kind of a perfect storm. This event has a combination of attributes that really amplify the impacts. The issue itself causes catastrophic system impacts, right? It blue screens the system. You can't work on it. It's dead in the water, right? The second thing is it is affecting a large number of customers. Again, this company, it's a big name. It has lots of customers out there, so lots of endpoints are being impacted. And these customers are big name customers in critical infrastructure sectors. So the type of customers and resulting services that are going down are kind of important. If you can't get on a plane because the systems are down, if the train system to move people in and out of your city are not working, if you can't schedule your medical procedures or they're delayed from today to some other day, yeah, that might be an issue. Not being able to get to your money in your bank, also a potential issue. So, we've got critical infrastructure sectors that are being impacted. And the last point is the offending code really has deep permissions within that computing stack. The stack that we talked about, it's pretty far down. Not as far as hardware and firmware, but when you start getting to operating system level, yeah, you can have a truly big impact, not only on your software, but on the entire system. Again, and that's why we're seeing those blue screens of death. And this is the case that we're seeing with CrowdStrike, with the event that started early this morning. Now, this outage reinforces the fact that cybersecurity solutions, they do mitigate risks, but they can also become a source of risk. In this case, mistakes were made, some trust was definitely lost, and the entire cybersecurity industry will definitely be scrutinized. And that's probably the only good outcome of this entire big mess. Because we do need to take a look, what failed, what do we need to do, how do we mitigate these threats, how do we respond and recover from them. Security plays a role, not only in keeping the bad guys out, but also making sure that we, the cybersecurity systems and software and products and vendors, we aren't contributing to additional risk of outage and impact. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're interested in getting more cybersecurity insights, and I'll see you next time.